Hi, if you've got an eye on moving to the Charlotte market and actually living in Charlotte or around here, then you've got to keep an eye on the suburbs of Charlotte. Today we're going to cover Fort Mill, South Carolina. I know Charlotte's in North Carolina, but Fort Mill, South Carolina is just across the North Carolina-South Carolina border, about 18-20 miles south of Charlotte, right down Route 77. We're going to fill you in on everything you want to know about Fort Mill, so stick around. Hi, I'm Dave DeSilva with Long Tab Realty, brokered by eXp Realty here in Charlotte. If this is your first time on this station or channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll be notified of every video that pops up, or every video we post, about the Charlotte market. We get calls, we get emails, texts, DMs, just about every day from people like you who are thinking of moving to the Charlotte market and want to have some questions answered. So if you're thinking of heading this way in 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months, please go ahead and put your notes in the comments. Give me a call. That's my phone number in the description section, and I do pick up that phone. Send me an email, or go ahead and let's set up a Zoom call. We can talk about your move or your visit to Charlotte. We'd love to talk to you. Before we jump in the car and head down to Fort Mill, which is really about 15 minutes from my house, if that, and I live in South Charlotte, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of Fort Mill, maybe the demographics of it, just cover the schools a bit and some of those type things before we actually show you Fort Mill, South Carolina. All right, so here we go with a little bit of an overview of Fort Mill, South Carolina. And Fort Mill is a major suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is across the South Carolina side of the border, but we still claim it. Fort Mill was established in about 1873. And the population in Fort Mill, obviously from 1, 2, 3, has grown quite a bit over the last couple hundred years. In 2010, the population was just around 6,000, and that zoomed up in 2020 to 24,500. And today, 2024, it's around 32,000. So quite a bit of growth, and it's all been fairly smart growth, not just haphazardly throwing in homes and neighborhoods, although there are quite a few neighborhoods. It is more smart planned growth. The Catawba Indians were really the first natives to be found in this area, and about 1750, 1760, some of the Scots-Irish who were already infiltrating the Charlotte region found their way down to the Fort Mill area and were actually invited to stay by the Catawba Indians, and thus they did, and created Fort Mill. They were the first white inhabitants of the area down in Fort Mill. The name Fort Mill came from the location being in between a British fort and Webb's grist mill on the south side, I believe. So you got Fort Mill. As with many of the towns in the area, textile was probably the big industry back in the 19th century, and it helped the area grow quite a bit. Today, there are several large employers in the region, including number one, I believe, is Ross Stores. Number two is LPL Financial. Fort Mill School District employs about 2,500 people. And then there's my favorite lender, Movement Mortgages, got a headquarters down here in Fort Mill as well. Fort Mill, also, you'll see a daily commute heading from Fort Mill up to Charlotte, and then from Charlotte back down on 77. So it gets a little bit crowded on the highway there, but there are alternate routes, that's tough for me to say, from Fort Mill back up into the Charlotte area. Now, there's a great mix of new and old homes in Fort Mill. Like I said, there's a lot of new communities that have gone up in the last 10, 20 years, and we're going to go ahead and cover some of these. So let's jump in the Jeep and go on down to Fort Mill. This is pretty much going to be a drive-by or a driving tour, and then in a later video, we'll get a little bit more in depth about some of the specifics of Fort Mill. Well, this is our view heading into South Carolina, across the North Carolina-South Carolina border on Route 77 from Charlotte. And can't see off to the left yet, but there's traffic starting to pick up. It's 3:01, and traffic usually picks up pretty heavily about 3:30 around here. But this is all you're going to see on the right side of the road until we get into Baxter Village area in Fort Mill, and we'll come up to that later. Okay, we just pulled into Fort Mill, South Carolina, Baxter Village, which is a great neighborhood on the west side of Route 77 in Fort Mill. It's really one of the first that I became aware of this, and I think Blakedale up north of Charlotte, that is a self-contained village. It's got restaurants, medical facility, a YMCA. I believe there's a school in here. I'll find out more about that later. Retail locations, small shops, very nice little village. And we'll cover Baxter more so when we talk about neighborhoods in Fort Mill. Right now, we're just going to do a drive-through of this part of Fort Mill. It is pretty significant. Okay, here we are on the main road of Baxter Village, and what you're going to see are, like I said, a bunch of retail locations. You've got the fish market in here, which is a great place to go and eat. You've got some little parks. There's a nice pub down here. There's the Lucky Duck. Of course, you got a couple stop signs, and we're working our way through the retail and the business section to pop into the residential section of Baxter Village. I've always just loved Baxter Village since we moved here. So here's what you're going to find in Baxter Village. Some single-family residential, and you're going to find some townhomes surrounded by parks. Here we're getting into Baxter Village, where you've got the Piedmont Medical Center on the left side. That looks like that's going to be, I believe that's going to be some condos and townhomes. Now we're going to jump back into a residential area fairly soon here of Baxter. And as I said before, the price range goes from $445 right now to $1.8 million. And the homes that are the $1.8 million homes, they are, I think, exclusively on one street, Harvest Street, which is on the south side of Baxter. And those are some pretty luxurious homes, a lot of them with pools. And now we're just going through a townhome section. Baxter, I've sold in here before. You've got a lot of greenery. They've really tried to maintain Baxter through their HOA and specific guidelines to be just an awesome looking section of town. As I mentioned when we started going through Baxter initially, it's got its own school system. I just saw the crossball roll across the street, so I'll be careful. But this is, I believe, Orchard Park Elementary School right in Baxter Village. So that's always nice, highly rated. The schools around Fort Mill, I've said Pineville before, are all extremely highly rated, anywhere from a 7 to 10 on gradeschools.org. And you've got Nations Ford High School, which is fairly new. Let me back off this video a little bit so you can get a better view of these homes. There we go. We've got Nations Ford, a new one, brand new one's Catawba Ridge, Fort Mill High School, and right now the community is in the process of building, I believe, 2 elementary schools and another middle school by the end of the 2025 year. So the schools are one of the reasons people look at Fort Mill. Here we are headed back north again on Market Street, which pretty much dissects the business district in Baxter and is on the edge of, obviously, the residential district, which you can see on our right, and if you could see on the left. And far off to the right is the YMCA. And we're heading back into more of the retail, restaurant, business area of town. Grapevine off to the left. Let's just drive here with a little bit of silence so you can check out Baxter. Spring Park on the left. TCBY. There's the Exchange, where you've got all sorts of things going on. Meeting house, classes, a couple of craft locations, a little market, some businesses. I think State Farm's in there. And now we're leaving Baxter. Starbucks on the left. Here's one thing that's great about Fort Mill that I didn't talk too much about so far. It's Fort Mill. You can go from a rural setting like we're seeing here on the right, some older homes. There are homes for sale right now that were built in the 1950s, and of course some built in 2023 and 2024. But you go from a rural setting, and instantly, within just a few minutes, you can go into a suburban setting. Fort Mill is definitely a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. but you've got a lot of variety in Fort Mill. And we'll be showing you some of that coming up soon. And here we are seeing some more of the rural setting, if you can see through that sunlight, of Fort Mill, South Carolina. I say South Carolina every time, don't I? So it's a horse farm. I think this is the south side of Ann Springs Close Greenway, which is, like I said, 2,100 to 2,300 acres. Now we're heading east, Broadcloth Street in Kingsley Town Center, and getting some of the businesses on the south side. You got the Corkscrew, there's the Chop House, Bricks Pizza coming up, which is well known around Charlotte. There's a couple of them uptown in Charlotte as well. Again, Carolina Ale House on the left side. You've got a Starbucks up here somewhere on the right. I think, oh, there it is. It was hidden. And a lot of retail. And as I said before, back up on the west side, you've got some residential. Cold Stone Creamery, great ice cream place, Smash Burger, my son loves that. Panera Bread, everybody knows about Panera Bread, a brewery, and then a swimming location here, a swim lab they call it. And that's, I think that's like a training center for little kids. So great location here in Kingsley Town Center in Fort Mill. It's midday here, maybe it's 3 o'clock, so the bar, I don't know if it's open, but it's definitely not full, and that is Carolina Ale House in Kingsley. And that's the LPL Financial Headquarters building across the way. And we zoom around to a nice little park. There's a woman just walking her dog here. And of course, you've got the Kingsley Tower over there. And this is the headquarters to LPL Financial in Fort Mill. They get another couple buildings around. It's the, I think, the second largest employer in Fort Mill. Okay, what we're going through, or the place we're going through right now, is a Del Webb / Pulte community. It is a 55 and over neighborhood. Mainly 3-bedroom, 3-bath. Some of them are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and they do have some 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes in here, but they're all pretty much single-story. You might call them craftsman style homes, fairly new, built in the last several years. Right now, the price range is from the 500s to the high end of 775, and that's all single-family residential. You're getting about 1,300 square feet on the lower end, 2,800 square feet on the upper end. Quite a few amenities in here. I've got some pictures of the clubhouse, the fitness center, pool, dog park, and of course tons of organized activity that take place in this sort of a neighborhood. And we do have a couple other neighborhoods, Treetops and Sun City, that are 55 and older neighborhoods, which we'll highlight in its own video down the road, so stay tuned for that. Okay, if you want to see a little bit of the amenities here at Carolina Orchards, then we're taking a quick view here. A lot of people with golf carts in this community, and here's the whole lineup of mailboxes. That's important. But behind that, you see the tennis courts, which are now dual use pickleball courts. Got the clubhouse, fitness center. The offices for administration of the HOA in the neighborhood are in here. Just tremendous facility. On the back side of this is a fireplace, stone fireplace for sitting around for gatherings. Got a grill, all sorts of things going on in this community and in this facility right here. Okay, I have mentioned that there are just plenty of great parks and recreation areas in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Lots of traffic too at 5 o'clock. But right now I'm at Ann Springs Close Park. It is 2,300 acres, which everybody keeps saying on the videos. It's twice as big as Central Park in New York City, but it's got lots to do here. You've got hiking. I did a 10K trail run yesterday with my wife here on New Year's Day. Equestrian outings, there's camps, there's kids' playgrounds, just so much to do at this park, and there's many, many more of them in Fort Mill. And there's a nice lake here at Lake Hagler. Let's see that, unless it's reversed. You can go kayaking, you can go water paddling, do whatever you want to do inside that lake. So great things, and it's just south of Charlotte. And this is part of Enclosed Springs Greenway Trail. On New Year's Day, there's a 10K every year. Ring in the new year, you get a bell for a prize. But it's all like this, little hilly, number of routes, and you got a couple water crossings. So that's always one of the fun races around the Charlotte area. Race, run, whatever you want to call it. And then we're coming up to a bridge up here. Maybe I can zoom in before I get out of there. There we go. Okay, we are pulling up to Nations Ford High School in Fort Mill. This is one of the newer schools in Fort Mill. Just a tremendous school. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on some of the athletic facilities down there. And then I'll take you and show you some of the school. But great school, one of 3 high schools in the Fort Mill area. You've got Catawba Ridge, which is very new, a new high school. And then you've got Fort Mill High School. And then, of course, this one, Nations Ford. And the claim to fame for Fort Mill is they are and have been off and on, I think it might be debatable, I guess who you ask, the #1 ranked school district in North Carolina. And they've got a top 2% school district in the country. So tremendous academics here. There's 20 schools total in the Fort Mill School District. Here's a little bit more of Fort Mill. We're coming to the front of the school. The only downside being in South Carolina is they don't play the same soccer season as the North Carolina high school soccer season runs, so they are not able to compete against each other. Like I said, 20 schools total in the Fort Mill district. Back in 2001, 2002, there were about 6,000 students in Fort Mill, the entire school district. And today it's closer to 20,000. As of the 2021-2022 school year, it was about 17,800, so that's 2 seasons old, and there has been growth. The only year without growth was the first year of COVID, and there was about 105 student loss. And the Fort Mill School District employs about 2,600 employees throughout the region, and so that makes it one of the larger employers in Fort Mill. Now we are pulling into the Springfield neighborhood, which many of these homes, or probably most of them, these homes were built between 2006 and 2019. And my wife and I actually had come down here a couple times early on in the building phase to take a look at some of these homes and consider actually making a move. And it's an awesome neighborhood. It's probably the first neighborhood after Baxter that really gave Fort Mill a lot of upscale homes, and we're going to see them down here on the right in a couple minutes. But right now we're going past some of the golf course in Springfield Golf Club. I'll show you that later on as well. But these homes range right now from the last 18 sales between $600,000 and $75,000. So it's not necessarily for all the new first-time home buyers, all the way up to one that was actually a foreclosure, I believe, at $1.9 million. Pretty hefty price tag, but it is a very well thought of school district, and we'll talk about that later, that caters to this neighborhood. Some awesome homes. There's a golf course. It's 6,906 yard par 72. I believe the designer was Clyde Johnston course, and I've played out here before, and it's got my favorite challenges, which is water. I think there are 13 holes that either go over the water, near the creek, or over a pond or something like that, and that's very attractive for me because I can find them anywhere. It's also got a putting green and driving range, but like I said, very nice neighborhood. Got clubhouse, fitness center, pool, tennis, trails, playgrounds, everything. Again, I say this a lot, everything you could need in a neighborhood you'll find here in Springfield, and it is very close to shopping. The school, Nations Ford School, is probably not even half a mile away, and I would think that if you're in the, would that be the western part of this neighborhood that's closer to the school, it's probably walkable. And that is Springfield. Now I'll take you around to show you the golf course, or I'm sorry, the golf club in just about a second as we just drive through this and take a look at some of these other homes. There are some other homes in this neighborhood that are a little bit smaller, not necessarily craftsman style homes, but they look like they're Charleston type homes, you know, with the pillars up front, tall and skinny, and longer in the back. Here we go. The golf course, Springfield Golf Club. We're coming around the backside of the Springfield Golf Club. As I said, it's a very challenging course. People absolutely love this course. This is the barn where they're storing all the golf carts, and behind that is the driving range. It is a full long-distance driving range. And as we come around this corner here through the parking lot, we're going to see the actual clubhouse and some people that just got done playing a little bit of winter golf. But it is a beautiful setting in Fort Mill and right all the way through the neighborhood. Now, as I said before, about 6,906 yards, give or take. To me, that 6 yards doesn't matter. I'm going to be farther out than that. Here's the pro shop, and then some of the facilities. Down there's the driving range. So there you have the Springfield Golf Course, Golf Club. And just past the golf course, as I said I would show you, these are the front porch style homes that I mentioned also can be found in Springfield. Gives it a little bit of a different look to the neighborhood. And then from there, you're right across the street from Orchard Park, which I'll take you through. The last thing we'll cover in Springfield is Orchard Park, which is part of the amenities here. You've got tennis back over there to the right. You've got a playground. There's a pool in here somewhere. You got tennis all along back there. A little picnic area. Coming onto the clubhouse. Also the clubhouse, and then behind the clubhouse off to the left there is the pool area. So great facility. That's Orchard Park in Springfield. And of course, if you've got a growing suburb, you've got to have places to go for martial arts, for dentistry, for music lessons on the right. Great clips where you can get your hair done. Okay, that's I can get my hair done there. I'm not sure if my wife would go there. And then, of course, every place like this in the Carolinas, just about every place like this is anchored by a Harris Teeter grocery store, which you're going to see on the right. So this is a pretty new location here and just meets the needs of the growing city. And as we exit the little shopping center, we've got Eggs Up Grill, we've got Nail Place on the right, Jersey Mike's, everything you can need. So here we are pulling into a different type of neighborhoods than the last two that we took a look at. This is Avery Lakes, not too far from Springfield, not too far from Nations Ford High School area, and that's, as a matter of fact, where they go to school from this neighborhood, Nations Ford High School, and then Fort Mill Elementary and Fort Mill Middle. But this is a little bit smaller neighborhood, some two-story, a lot of ranch homes that are two-car garage. The price point in here is somewhere between $300 right now and $370. I think there's 3 homes that are under contract at that price point. I sold a similar home to those about in 2021. I think that's it right there on the right. Yes, it is. Right there. I sold that one for $270 to the Lackmans, relocating from Connecticut. But there are no amenities in this neighborhood. So it's a great first-time home buyers neighborhood, or maybe somebody who's relocating and trying to get out of a bigger home to move down. So you got first-time home buyers, move up, move down. And they're usually 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Like I said, mixed ranch and 2-story. So the HOA fee is about $250 per year. And so that's pretty good. It looks like this one is one of the ones that's under contract for between $300 and $369. I'm not sure which one that was. But again, the variety of neighborhoods in Fort Mill should fit everybody's needs. Whether you're looking at that first-time buyer's home, you're moving down, you're looking at a golf course home, luxury inn. So you've got just about everything here. You've even got bumps in the road. So that's Avery Lake in Fort Mill. Right now to our right is the famous Walter Elisha Park. We're going to stop in there and check it out, and then head into the older part of what I call the older part of Fort Mill. Here we are at Walter Elisha Park, and one of the things you'll notice, this is January, and there's a bunch of kids out here, parents out here. There's the amphitheater over there, kicking a soccer ball, running around, playing in the park, just having a good time. And you're going to see that year-round, obviously. Over here is the Christmas tree. Should be coming down soon. Then the playground area. Let me see if I can zoom in for you people with that. We just notice the kids around the park. This is right outside the center business district of Fort Mill, which is the old side, the east side of 77 Fort Mill town. And again, we'll zoom around here. Got restrooms, of course, open field, kids playing. But a lot of activity is going on here. And in the summer, it is just a crowd. And good to see. This is where you get the feel for small town Fort Mill versus maybe big time Charlotte. So we're going to head into town and take a look at downtown Fort Mill right away. Okay, we are now entering into the downtown Fort Mill. Look, somebody dropped some water rolling down the hill. Sorry about that, buddy. There's the center theater. Hobo's on the left. You can't see that yet. We'll get up there. I'll check that out. There's a hair salon. It's very slow through here. The Improper Pig. Just a great location. A lot of people hang out in there. What else we got up in here? Just some small businesses, a gym, attorney's office back there, community playhouse, and then another red light. So this is a multiple red light small town. Here we are on the outskirts of town. And again, this is the older section in my mind of Fort Mill. We'll just drive through here a little bit. Town Hall on the right. Town Cell Tower on the right. Just kidding. And there are a couple nice little sandwich shops along here. Yeah, I've been to with some clients here and there. Been here for a number of closings. It is right across the border from Charlotte, South Carolina, North Carolina border. So we will turn around soon and head back and check out the other side of uptown or downtown Fort Mill. As I said, we're heading back into Fort Mill Town Center. This is on the east side of Route 77. Post office. Actually, it's a new post office, not a good old post office. And then we're coming up to our big intersection in town here. And I'm not saying that facetiously. It's this is one of the intersections that gets you around town or gets you through town. And we're going to take a left here with the light up here and go through town and see what is on the other side of the street versus where we came in from. Where I just made the light. And you go. We've got the H&R Block. Town Tavern on Main. It's a good spot. And then right down here on the right side is very well-known hamburger hot dog place, Hobo's. Let's see, didn't know if we're supposed to let people cross or not. You've got the little town pavilion there, and then we're heading back out towards Walter Elisha Park.